he can.
Yes,
He's
he
gonna show you today. This is the Big Finish at Lincoln Lodge. We're about to get it on the show. So come on, everybody, and get the show on the road.
Let's get it on the road. Hi, and welcome to the Big Finish podcast. I'm Jamie Schreiner.
And I'm Becca Kenny.
And we're your hosts. And today we're just flirty and not 30. Becca's not 30.
Honey.
I'm almost 30, but we're thriving, just the two of us. We're going to let you get a look.
I do feel like I'm thriving a little bit today. Something about it being 42 degrees in Chicago after it being so brutally cold does like make me I'm like wow, I can do anything, like, you know, like walking through the streets, like I'm gonna tap dance everywhere, but but I've literally been brutally depressed in such a dark place, and I've listening around, kind of getting an interview with census taking of the room. I think that's a common pattern of people right now, is being in a brutal place.
It's I don't know. I would say, like, I think it's you. So we were talking before the podcast started, and Beck, it's the end of winter. Just
Yes.
like we got to push through the rest of the snow and the cold weather, and I think that's absolutely it. I think that, you know, I'm somebody, I just struggle. I struggle with depression year round, but it definitely gets exponentially worse in the winter.
Completely.
To the point that I'm like, what? I know why I live here. I love the comedy scene here. I love the city of Chicago. It's just, these 2 to 3 months are very heavy and hard.
Well, and it's just like in February, it really feels like there's nothing to live for.
Sorry.
It's like in January, you're like, oh, it's a new year, honey. We're changing. We're reassessing our patterns. We're kind of taking stock. In December, it's like the Christmas spirit, you know. But then we get to February and it's like Valentine's Day.
Are you freaking killing me?
like all of, you know, the February holidays like are just a little bit more like kind of make you think about things in a dark way, I think. I mean, Valentine's Day if you're really romantic, but like I
mean, like, yes and no. I would say also, it's like, you know, anybody who's listened at this point knows I'm the astrology bitch. You know, Pisces season comes in hot and heavy February 15th, and it's really like take no prisoners in terms of it making everybody be in their fucking feelings and like whimsically like looking at the past, like, oh, what could I have done differently? And it's just like there's no it's not productive, it's not helpful to us. But I feel like this is like the 4-week period every year where it's just like, oh, it was Valentine's Day and I didn't get a box of candy and now I'm thinking about my ex and I'm crying into a bathtub. Like it's
well, I like have not been doing stand up for like a month now too, which has been like Omicron. Like I was getting booked so much and then it like bombed my momentum. Now she's getting back like late February, March. She's got some sets coming up, but like, and I've been trying to like focus on like relationships and like romance and sex and like discovering that more. And it's blown up in my face. It has blown. Well, it's like it's like I know I'm such like a confident person in so many ways, but it's like when I go into like a gay bar, it's like I don't have access to that anymore. And I mean, I know you've seen it.
I've seen, I even think of like that night we went out to Berlin. Like I remember you being like, oh, like I don't know if I can wear this. Like I don't, and it just like, if anything, it makes me want to like slap the shit out of anybody who made you feel like you can't fucking walk into that space like you own the fucking place, because you do. You know, like it. I don't know. I think that.
Well, and it's also like the apps. The apps are such a top, and like I don't know what the straight apps are like in comparison. I will say that Grindr is one of the grossest, darkest places of the internet. It is so insanely dark and evil. I have been blocked by a majority of the guys who I've had sex with on Grindr right after we had sex, and it's like, good luck. How am I going to tell them I probably have gonorrhea now?
Oh my god! It's like, honestly, one is like, you say that, and it's just like it is like it bums me out because it's like it was like that like when I was in college,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that you're like just out of college age, but like when I was in college, because I'm those of you who don't know already, I'm a little older than Beckett. I was born 92. I think you're 98. So yeah, I remember like my friends in college who were on Grindr having like terrible experiences with like, you know, going home with somebody and hooking up, and then like that person like gives them something and they have no way to contact them now because it's so like it's like you said, it's evil, it's irresponsible, it's just have a little bit of compassion and decency for other human beings,
right.
you know, like it's not that hard. If you don't want to see them again, you don't have to respond, but
I agree. I would never think of blocking somebody after, and it's I don't know, it's just insane to me, like unless like they're like harassing you or something, but it's
then
like,
maybe
yeah, well, and I have been hooking up with this guy kind of consistently, and recently like he invited me to his birthday party, which was supposed to be yesterday, and I texted him about it yesterday. I'm like, do you still want me to come? And he's like, oh, probably not tonight. And then
I'm sorry, what?
And then he just texted me today and said that he tested positive for gonorrhea. But last night I hooked up with a guy through Grindr, which is a mistake. Every time I do it, I regret it. It ended badly. I went downstairs, realized I forgot my belt, went back up to that apartment, knocked on the door, and then like his roommate, which was a girl who I just saw in passing really quick, like opened the door, and she was like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, I left my belt in that room. And she's like, with that room? I was like, yeah, I don't know. I was with your roommate. He's probably back there. I have my belt in there. Can I just go get it really quick? And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then I'm like, it's back there. And I walk into the room, and then I see like a bunch of other girls who I did not recognize. And I was like, oh, this was the wrong room. I had walked into the wrong room, and and then I was like, I am so sorry. This is so embarrassing. And I felt like the energy of like from the other girls in the room, like they were like getting ready for like some kind of crazy person to come in.
Oh
and
my
then
God, you just left your fucking belt. Like, why are people so weird?
But I didn't leave my belt in that apartment. It was the wrong apartment. And I had to go back upstairs and get it.
And then you finally got, okay.
Yeah, I did finally get the belt.
But then did he block you?
He then did block me. But I also, like, as he was closing the door, he was like, I could hear him, like, as I was knocking for the belt, like, him being like, yeah, I really want to do cocaine now. And I'm like, oh, we are dodging bullets left and right.
Yeah, you are dodging. Yeah, get out of there, baby. Oh, God. It's like, I mean, yeah, I think I told you I was banned from Tinder because somebody that I matched with found out I was a comedian, and I was like, yeah, you could come to one of my shows like after we've been on like, you know, several dates, because it's like I'm not going to have you come to my place of work when like as a first date.
Well, I feel weird about
bringing people around.
Well, you know, have you also seen, and I'm sorry, I want you to finish this story because I'm more interested in it, but like, you know, like specifically like a type of open micer who brings his girlfriend to every single open mic that they do.
Yeah.
That's so brutal to me. I always feel so bad for that girl.
Like the poor baby bird, like he should be taking you on a date at some point.
Yeah.
Like you should be going to dinner, or you should go to the movies. Like,
or like, what are her interests?
Like, what is she, you know, how is that fun for her? I mean, yeah, I feel the same way. Basically, the only end of the story is that I started trolling the guy because he was being really like shitty about like, oh, you don't want me to come to a show today? I was like, no, I fucking met you on the internet. No, I don't. And then he reported me for promoting. Yeah, which is like, wow. Which is like, I wasn't promoting. Like, you asked me and I told, you know, it's just like so dumb. But then, I mean, yeah, I remember, I don't know if I still have the text. I had like in an effort to cleanse my soul after having a tryst with someone I should not have.
Okay.
I was like, let me get on Bumble and try to meet a regular person, you know? Yeah. And so I was on Bumble, and I set my settings to 45 and older, because I was like, oh, I'll find like a little daddy, you know? I was like, I'll get, you know, because I've done that before, and I was like, let me just, you know, it'll be fun. But then the guy I matched with started talking about how like when like women, I guess women physiologically or psychologically can't have multiple sexual partners without like deteriorating their mental health or their vaginas. And I was just like,
you are mentally ill.
yeah, I was like, I am crazy. But yeah, I was like, yeah, so like I'm polyamorous. That's kind of my whole thing.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is gonna work, my guy. And he was just like, best of luck out to you. No, he's like, best of luck out there, sweetie pie. And I was just like, ugh. And then I just deleted Bumble because I was like, you know what? I think it's time to take a break from boys. You know, like 6.
Every time I go to delete Grindr, I open it for a second, and then somebody I'm attracted to like messages me, and I'm like, I'm back in the game, baby. and then I like 10 minutes later, I'm like, why am I here? You know, it is a toxic cycle. And what's unfortunate is now I'm trying Hinge too, but I literally hate all of the apps, and I think Hinge is like slightly more personal, which is nice, and it's more like kind of like, have you done Hinge?
I've done Hinge, but it's like with Hinge, I ended up deleting it just because I felt like it was hard to keep in contact with people. And I think in general for myself right now, I think like I need to acknowledge the fact that what I am looking for is more of a like serious friendship that grows into a long-term relationship that possibly has a sexual component to it. Whereas like the people that I'm meeting on these apps want to hook up. Yeah. And I always get my feelings hurt. Yeah. And like even the people that I interact with in real life, like after shows or like people who are at the show, like people who are on, like it's there's such a misconception as to what me being polyamorous means that it's like, I think I need to like take a break, reevaluate so I can set clear boundaries and like have like an elevator pitch of like, this is what I want. If you can't give this to me, then get the hell out of my face. Like respectfully, get the hell out of my face, you know? So, cause I just like, I think I'm at the point now where it's like, I turned 30 in August. Like I do have a primary partner. I'm just tired of feeling like I'm tired of feeling like I've been used and discarded.
Yeah, completely. Well, what I really want right now, and I've been having a lot of, well, I was a virgin until I was 21, iconically, which
iconic.
Is kind of late. And it's not so late. At 21, it felt so late. Now at 23, it doesn't feel as late because 21 feels young to me now.
Well, honestly, I lost my virginity. I lost my virginity. I couldn't even say that word for a second. I lost my virginity when I was 14, and it's like I nanny and I meet 14-year-olds now, and it's like, you're a kid.
Oh my God,
like
14-year-olds? That's like
you're
historically
a child.
One of the youngest ages of all time.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, yeah, it absolutely is, and it's just like, you know, I think that like anybody I meet who like lost their virginity in their 20s is always like, oh, like kind of late. It's like, no, honestly, at that point, at least you were like starting to develop an adult brain, like maybe not fully yet, but it's like, because I feel like it's like from 14 to like 25, I was doing all this shit, and then I feel like my brain finally fully developed at 26, and I was just standing there like, what the fuck just happened? You're like, what was all that? Like, I don't know what the fuck I was doing. And I like can't take it back now. Like it already happened, you know? So.
Yeah, no, I do. I mean, I'm now, I look back and I regret almost every sexual partner I've had. And I'm not saying this to be like disrespectful to the people. I mean that in like I don't feel that almost, I don't mean that like, oh, like gross, like who are they, or like I'm better. It's like I don't feel that almost any of them have cared about me, which is
that's kind of like
kind of a dark thing to say.
Yeah, it's dark, but it's dark, but it's kind of like, it's similar to what I was getting at in terms of like, you know, like, I'm very sex positive. I believe you're very sex positive. Like, absolutely, like get out there, have sex. But it's just like, I'm kind of getting to the point where it's like, it's difficult for me to have sex with somebody who doesn't give a fuck about me. Like it hurts. It just hurts. It's like, I don't want to, I have no interest in doing it anymore. You know what I mean? Like it's very much like that Stacey Rico song, like there's gotta be more to life than chasing out every temporary. Like it's a temporary high. You feel validated and good in the moment, and then after the fact, you're like, oh fuck, like they don't give a shit. And then it's that darkness again. So it's just like I'm trying to my mantra that I made, you're talking about January, like new year, new me. Like the mantra I was trying to make is like, I'm going to put myself first. I'm going to give some of that love back to myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which has blown up in my face because I'm a people pleaser and I'm setting boundaries now and people don't like it.
Right. Well, what's so hard is like looking at like, I don't even really enjoy sex most of the time. And I do it almost exclusively for validation. And that's also like, and you know, you don't feel the validation so much when it's somebody who doesn't really care. You know what I mean? And so but it's also like I'm trying to figure out what I like, but I really want to like fall in love and like have a boy, or just try that at least. You know what I mean? But it's very hard for me. I feel like people have that thing where they can just like take it to that place, and I feel like I don't.
Yeah. So you feel like do you feel like, is it, so would you say it's like you have a hard time like being vulnerable with people, or is it more just like because it seems that also like the culture around dating apps and everything makes it really difficult to like be vulnerable in that way when everybody's just looking to hook up.
No, I mean, it definitely does. I mean, I think about that like, and I think I just said this, but like I feel weird about being a stand-up and like people seeing my stand-up, because in some ways I feel weird because it's like, I feel extremely powerful, but it's also a very vulnerable thing to show somebody. One, there's always a risk that you could bomb. Yeah,
there's always the risk.
No matter what the room is, there's always a risk that you could eat a dick.
And even if you're doing, you could literally do your absolute best jokes.
Yeah.
And with the wrong audience, you're gonna bomb. Yeah. With the wrong energy to your delivery, you're gonna bomb.
Yeah. So it's like, if your timing is slightly off, you can lose momentum. And it also depends like who else is on the show, where are you on the lineup. Anything could go wrong.
So true.
But like that. But it's weird because I almost feel like I'm too vulnerable and open. I will tell anybody almost anything about my life or anything about how I feel. I love to tell my secrets.
Oh.
I love to tell my secrets.
And then you're like, don't tell anybody. But it's like, I mean, I feel like it's like for me, a friend described me this way, and I think it's so accurate. Like I am a house where the doors are unlocked. You can come in. Yeah. You can walk around. Yeah. But I have security cameras in every room. Like I'm keeping an eye on you.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting.
It takes a really long time with someone for me to turn those cameras off. And like maybe there's like a safe in the back room that's hidden behind a speakeasy door. And I'm not gonna show you that until I really know. Like I'll be kind to everybody, I'll let everybody in, you can walk around, but I'm not gonna show you that immediately. And that it's hard, honestly. I feel like it's like they're both hard in different ways, because it's like when you're open with everybody, you almost if you're open with somebody who is not trustworthy, you open yourself up to being hurt. Whereas like if you don't open up to people, then nobody gets to.
And that's like what makes me so comfortable around comedians so often is, and what's sometimes hard for me with people who are not comedians in like my communication style. And then even before comedians, I was hanging around a lot of speakers and like public speakers. I used to speak.
Yeah, of course.
Anyway, everyone was such a huge oversharer. Like everyone told everyone everything about themselves, and whatever trauma they had that popped into their head, they would share in the moment. And like stand-up comedians are like that a lot, and they'll be like, I'm so depressed, right? You know, but a lot of people are not like that. And that can be jarring for normal people.
Oh yeah. I know you talked like when you were back in Peoria.
Yes.
Not today, but like another time we had a conversation, you were saying back in Peoria, it was almost like a complete like shock to the system that you couldn't just like tell people stuff without them being like.
And I would and I could, but it was like they would be like, say what now? You know.
And it's like, I mean, I will say like anyone who's listening to this episode, obviously this is one of our more sincere I am cringe but I am free episodes. But I think it's important to, because gorgeous girls, you know, we are honest about how we're feeling, and I think that's kind of what we're doing today. I I do know we normally have a little bit of a structure. We do like the big three, the big game, I don't even necessarily feel like we still need to do that. I
don't necessarily feel that way either. I do want you to tell, because I know you prepared a big three for, and it is Euphoria characters right now, and I have been deep in the debate of which Euphoria character I am, as you well know, and we've been talking about this.
Because it's like, I feel like we're both similar in that like we have this specific moments with each one we really relate to. Like we both have been Cassie drunk spinning in the balloons.
Yes. I've been Cassie drunk spinning in the balloons a lot. And that's why like everyone who's known me has been like, everyone who deeply knows me is like, you're a Cassie. But what's so interesting, and I didn't see this for myself, is so many people who casually know me, like like somebody who commented on that like story of mine, I was asking like which Euphoria character I am. So many people chose Maddie, which is not somebody I expected to be guessed as all.
Well, and it's the thing that's interesting about Beckett's astrology chart is, so he's born September 6th, 1998. Yeah. And I put in Peoria. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I just guessed that on a whim.
Pekin, Illinois.
Pekin? I don't think it would. I guess
it's very close. It's like a 20-minute drive.
We can check and see if it changes it. How do you spell Pekin?
Pekin.
Pekin,
Illinois.
Pekin, China. No, I'm kidding.
It's
I really don't think it'll change it. Let me see if it changes it though. If it does, I'll be blown away. Oh no, it didn't change anything.
Okay, hot.
So Beckett, because he's born September 6th, sun sign Virgo, which we know we love. And if you look online, like New York Post, Teen Vogue, everybody has their own opinion on which sign is which astrology sign.
Yeah.
But literally in the show,
yeah.
Rue's birthday is 3 days after 9/11. So Rue is a Virgo.
Yes.
Rue is literally like written to be a Virgo. So that's like your sun sign is like people's general impression of you. So people's general impression of you is Rue, which is like, I think Rue is very of the earth, and like, it's hard because it's like, you can't, like, you don't even really get a strong concept of like who you would be unless you think of like, who would Rue be if she wasn't addicted to the drugs?
Well, you know, like, I will say that like, I could see myself as being, well, that sign is the what? Which sign is
Virgo?
But what does that mean?
So Virgo is like, I
mean, I know that what Virgo means. I mean, what does it mean that's
your sun sign. So
yes.
it's like, it's based on the day that you were born, and it's kind of just like your ego. It's your general, like your sense of self.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could see myself feeling like, in general, like a Rue, because it's like, I think Rue's like somebody who comes off as funny and smart and competent, actually, but like, is also deeply troubled in a way that it feels uncontrollable. Yeah, and that I do relate to.
Well, yeah, and then, and it's like, so, I do love for you, like your sun sign and your moon sign are earth and water. So your moon sign is a water sign. It's Pisces. And so it's like, it's interesting. A lot of people say Cassie for you, like all the different things that I looked at said that Cassie is a Cancer, which is just another water sign. Mm-hmm. But for Pisces, what was coming up was Cassie's mom or Jules.
I do see a lot of, I thought more people would guess Jules for me.
Because your moon sign is your moods and emotions, and it's how you see yourself.
Okay.
So that's like, yeah.
I mean, I can definitely see myself relating to like a drunken mom as well as like a whimsical teen.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like Jules feels very sweet. She's very sweet. I do, you know, I do get that.
Yeah. Whereas it's like, I'd say Pisces is more of a like the sweet, dreamy, whimsical water sign. Cancer is the more like deeply emotional, which is why like Cassie is probably a Cancer.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting because I do think I see myself more as a Cassie, except for the fact that she's so quiet.
Yeah.
But in those moments, like when she's screaming at Nate that she's saying I'm crazier than you, and in those moments where she's dancing drunk with the balloons.
Yes.
Yes. Those I'm like Cassie, yes.
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely. And then, so it's like the only other thing. So we don't have Beckett's time of birth. So I don't have the rising sign, which the rising is just your mask. It's just your mask. If your mom ever gets it, maybe on a future episode, we'll do it.
Yeah.
But Beckett, I will say his Mercury, Venus, and Mars. So your Mercury is how you communicate. Your Venus is how you love and how you engage in sex, and then your Mars is how you achieve your goals, like how you go after things. All in Leo.
Yeah, which one?
Leo is Maddie.
Leo is Maddie. Okay, yes, and this is where things kind of make sense.
That's where people get confused.
I do think I project like a huge confidence and personality that is at times a little biting. I
love it though. I love it.
But, I love it. So I guess that makes sense. I think that I have the ability to summon that confident part of myself. It almost feels. It doesn't feel disingenuous or like a character me, because I do feel that that's the real me, but it makes sense.
Yeah. And it's like I think I was telling you before the show, like I am a Leo, that's my sun sign, so it's like that's just like my ego, my thing, but it's like Aquarius moon is my moon sign, and so what was coming up for Aquarius was Jules or Rue's sister. So that's how I feel like I really am.
Yeah. Which one would you feel of those characters you feel more like, Rue or Jules' sister?
I think Jules I feel more like is more like who I feel the most similar to in terms of like temperament and personality. But then it was like also like my rising sign is Aries, and the sign that, or the character that came up for that was Fez's grandma. Which cracked me up, because it's
iconic.
Like so that means my mask is, I guess people think I'm gonna fucking kill them, which I kind of love that for me.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that is interesting, I think the thing that like shows a good chart is having the like the diversity and the balance of like your chart. You have like Rue, Jules / Cassie's mom, and you also have like all this Maddie energy, whereas it's like I will say I wish mine was a little bit more chilled, because it's like Maddie, Fez's mom, like Fez's grandma, Jules, like that's chaos. That is pure chaos. So I love Euphoria though. It's been really hurting me in my heart. I know we talked season 1, the cat episode, we both really related to as well.
Yes, the cat episode. I mean, what's funny is Euphoria in a lot of ways, I definitely understand why it's a cultural phenomenon. I do think sometimes it can be kind of stupid. And I told you this before. It is like I do, especially in the first season. The second season has gotten a little darker, has kind of turned up the consequences. But the first season, I was like, this does kind of glamorize drug use quite a bit. And I was like, listen. I'm no Dare girl, but like Dare said that, and I was like, and then Dare is a very flawed program. But I was like, I kind of get where they're coming from. This show makes drugs look really fun. But then the second season, I think,
Yeah, I think the second season makes it more like, oh shit, it's real. But it's like there are teens who are like experimenting and becoming addicted to drugs, and it's really fucking sad. And it's just funny to me that they make it so like dramatic, and not like, it's not funny, it's sad, but it's like, it is a bit silly at times, because it's so glamorized in a way that's almost like, it's like Euphoria, we dare you. like versus like Dare to Live Above, they're like, we dare you. Like literally dare you.
And what can I, if you're comfortable, what is your experience been with drugs in general?
So in general, my first love, my first like long-term boyfriend. That's like, I mean, it's lame to say, but I
thought you were about to say a drug.
Oh yeah, no, my first love was marijuana. No. The first person I ever was in love with was an addict. He, when we met, he was a pot dealer, which was like kind of cool and edgy, because I was 14, he was 17, which is like, ooh, it's very Indiana. But like, I was like kind of taken with the fact that he's like this like cool, older bad boy. And then it was just like, we were basically on again, off again for 5 years. And it just like slowly progressed from him selling pot and doing a little pot to him selling cocaine and doing a little cocaine to like, then he's addicted to heroin. Then he's in rehab. He gets clean. Then he relapses. And it was just like a really emotionally tumultuous time in my life. And I think it's part of why, like when I'm really honest with myself, I think it's part of why I so want like that validation and emotional connection with another person and with friendships.
Yeah.
And also why I fear people's intentions and am deeply security cameras on with people. Cause it's like, I had somebody like look me in the eye and say, I promise you I'm not doing drugs while they were doing drugs, you know, and it's, you know, he is actually like fully clean and happy and healthy and like lives on the West Coast now, which is great for him. But it's like, I remember like we were out of contact for like, we were together on and off again for 5 years. We were out of contact for 5 years. I remember just getting like a random Facebook message from him, which was like, it was him like with Narcotics Anonymous, you have to make amends.
Yeah.
And I remember like seeing his name in my inbox, like just immediately, it was just like panic and dread. It was like terrifying. Even though like what he said was very nice and very lovely, it's like that was still my like initial reaction to that person. So it's like when I watch Euphoria and people are like, oh my gosh, this is so over the top. Like, yeah, to some degree it's over the top, but like it is rooted in truth. Like there are young people who get exposed to that and it like fucking ruins their life. Like,
well, I like, they're like, it's like set in like Florida. So I'm always like, I always have to remember it's in Florida.
Yeah, like it's you know.
I'm like, this does feel a little more Florida than it does.
Yeah, it feels
it's a little less Midwestern, maybe. But I mean, but obviously, the opioid epidemic.
Oh my God, opioids are real bad. Like, especially, I mean, I grew up in Porter County, and I think when I was in high school, I don't know if it's still the truth, but when I was in high school, we were the second largest opioid problem in a county in the United States.
Wow.
So it was it was really,
so
really bad. And my best friend's boyfriend died from an overdose. Like, I don't know why I said dose. I mean, oops. It's not funny. It's not a funny thing to say, but it's like, yeah, a lot of people who I like was in school with or was close with either like are no longer with us or they, are like they just are completely sober now because they have to be. And so it's like it's, you know, I wish there was some way to like make it light but for me, because that was my experience, I was a huge little narc for like all of college. I never did any like I mean, I smoked cigarettes and I would drink and I would like have a little pot. I think like the one actual drug I did is like when I was 16, some of my friends were smoking salvia in a basement and I was like, let me try this. Salvia.
Is salvia a drug? I thought salvia, okay, maybe I don't know.
It's like, salvia is like, it was like this like synthetic thing that you used to be able to just buy in the gas station in Indiana and you like put it in a bowl and smoke it like weed and you trip for 15 minutes.
Oh wow, okay.
But it's like an intense, scary fucking like acid like trip. So I did that when I was 16 and I was just like, yep, I'm good, never again.
Yeah.
And then it's like I feel like now that I'm like it's funny because like now that I'm in my like late 20s and we've had this like ongoing pandemic, I'm like, you know what, let me just like try some of these things and see what it's about. And it's like, you know, there's certain drugs that I'm like, obviously like heroin, opioids, I'm like, this is a no for me. Like I'm not you know, I'm not doing that. But like I finally tried mushrooms, really loved them.
Hallucinogenics are well, mainly mushrooms. I'm still pretty scared of acid.
Yeah,
but I'm
not
so scared
acid.
of mushrooms for some reason. Just because I don't know. It's like most of the people who've told me they've tried mushrooms are like, it actually really helped me.
Yeah,
like in the long term. Like I don't know. I'm always skeptical of that in general.
Of course.
But I am so scared of Molly.
I will say so. Anybody who was at the Lincoln Lodge on Saturday, November 6th knows that I tried Molly for the first time before Beckett and I went to the Ashnikko concert.
Did go to the Ashnikko concert.
Beckett did not do Molly. I did do Molly. And I loved it. It's just like it, the come down is terrible.
Yeah, like, and that's what I'm terrified of.
All the serotonin in your brain is just suddenly gone.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, I'm crying alone in my car to Encanto. Like what the hell is going on? So it's like I know some other comedians that I've been interacted with have been like, oh, like if you take like this vitamin at this hour on the hour while you're on Molly, then you won't have it. I'm like, that just seems like a lot of work. That seems like I have to do like a vitamin regimen to do this drug. I don't think I need to do this drug. Like I think I tried it. You know, it was what it was, and I think part of it was just like the general post-pandemic craziness. I don't want to say craziness, but I feel like post-pandemic you kind of like...
Oh, I felt it.
Yeah, you're just like, fuck it.
When I came back to Chicago post-pandemic and when I would visit, it was like the amount of people who since I've come back, have thrown cocaine at me, and I've not done cocaine either. I'm very terrified. But it is like the amount of people who've thrown cocaine and Molly, and like I have noticed that the hard drug use is up.
I know, and it's like it makes me like really bummed out, because it's like, yeah, I'm the same way. I've been in those positions, and sometimes I've been like, bet, let's do it. But then other times it's like I'm kind of like waking up in the morning and I'm laying in my bed, I'm like, I don't love this for any of us. Like, why don't we, like, yeah, we just went through this hugely traumatic collective experience.
Yeah.
But like, why don't we chill down a little bit on the hard drugs? Like, let's.
Somebody said, and I think this is a popular thing, and I think it came from a TED Talk, but like the opposite of addiction isn't sobriety, it's connection. And that's like, yeah.
I love that.
And I totally believe that. And they did this study with like rats where like they had like these rats like basically put in like a solo thing, and then they gave them regular water and heroin water, and then the rats would get addicted to heroin water. But then when they put them in this large like playpen with all these other rats where they could interact, they always chose just the regular water. None of them got addicted to heroin. And with humans, it's not as easy as just playing around with other people. There's also like trust and connection, but it does make sense that like something that like takes away so much connection from other people would lead to more drug use. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you're like, I am alone in this world. I can't trust anyone, and that's terrifying and heavy and scary. So let me self-medicate with these drugs.
Yeah.
Whereas like, when you are sober or not experiencing drugs, you kind of just have to be with people and like connect with people. Oh, I love that. It's not sobriety, it's connection. That's really beautiful, Beckett.
Yeah, it is beautiful. I didn't say
Thank you, TED Talk. Thank you, TED Talk, for giving us that. Yeah. I feel like, do you have any other things you want to?
No, I think we should. I guess this one's gonna be a ballad.
This is definitely. This feels like an 11 o'clock number.
Yeah, if I've ever heard one.
Like no one is alone into the woods vibes is what I'm getting from today's conversation. So,
hit it.
Dare to connect. Dare to connect. Dare to connect. Dare to connect.
Dare to connect. Every day your life, connect for you. Connect for your wife and all the people that you see and all the people that you meet. You better connect, cause then you won't be dead meat. You need it in your life to meet these other people, so don't be afraid. Let's go to church in the steeple. I'm just trying to rhyme here, but it's actually true. Connecting with people can help me and you.
People need people. People need laughter. People need people. People need laughter. People need people. People need laughter. People need people. Dare to connect. Dare to connect. Dare to connect. Dare to connect.
Connect with other people. Come on, connect with other people.
Even pets and dogs and cats, but mainly we're talking about people like your friend or your neighbor or your grandma or your granddad or your estranged uncle named Chad. He's not so bad.
Ask them how they're doing.
You should call your mom and your dad. Call your mom and your dad.
Call your mom and your dad.
Call your mom
you
and
ever
your
had. Connect. Connect for you.
You all, thank
That's
you.
a hit.
That's a hit. That
That's
was
a
a
hit
banger. It's so great to be back with you, Beckett.
It's so great to be back with you, Jamie. We
you
took
know,
a long break for
took a long
this
break.
Omicron.
this Omicron, I'm not saying it right. This Omicron, yeah, we had to take quite the break, but I feel like, we still got it. We still got the magic. Honey, we connect.
Yeah.
We connect the, I feel like, connect the dots, la, la, la. I feel like, I feel like we have nothing else to give. That was some
beautiful.
of our best work.
Yeah,
that was beautiful.
I think this was our best musical number yet.
Yeah, and I do think that you all should, call your mom after this, whoever that is to you. If you're estranged from your mom or your mom's no longer here, of course, I'm not trying to hurt you, but call that person.
Call that person in your life. Call a friend. Talk to them. To ask them to meet up with you. If they can't, I keep asking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is so important that you have people in your life that you can talk to, and it just makes everything easier.
It really does, because it's like, even like when I came in today, I was like, oh man, I'm feeling like shit. And Beckett's like, honestly, we gauged the whole room and we're all feeling like shit. And I was like, yeah. And it's like, it's so silly for me to be excited that everybody feels like shit, but it kind of is like unifying and brings us all together if we take the time to like, reach out to each other. And we're all busy. We're all adults. Maybe we don't meet in person, but text them, FaceTime them.
Yeah.
Send them a meme, just like let them know that you love them and you're there. It's important. This has been the Big Finish podcast. I'm Jamie Schreiner. You can find me on Instagram at Jamie Schreiner Biddle.
I'm Beckett Kenny. You can find me at Bucket Kenny. Thank you to the Lincoln Lodge for having us today. Thank you to our wonderful to our pianist Becca and our engineer Christine. I can't think of the titles correct.
I know, podcast engineer. But yeah, we do our podcast bi-weekly or weekly or just whatever. Just listen to it. Keep listening, girl. Girl, gay, they, everybody. Maybe straight men would listen to this. I kind of doubt it, but if you're a straight man and you're listening, we love you.
Take the jump. Connect with us, straight men.
Yeah, connect. Yeah, send us a message. Let us know that we made you decide to go to therapy. We love that for you. I think that's it.
Yeah. Bye. This has been The Big Finish. This is The Big Finish at Lincoln Lodge. We're about to get it on the show. So come on, everybody, and get the show on the road.
Let's get it on the road.